Regret is the only ghost that truly haunts a house. The silence hangs heavy in the dimly lit room, the sterile walls too pristine, too polished to offer comfort. His office, a flawless arrangement of metal and glass, holds no room for warmth, only the cold precision of a life built on routine. The papers on his desk are neatly stacked, each one a reminder of a task to be completed, a promise to be kept. Yet they are nothing more than barriers to the man he once dreamed of becoming. His tie is perfectly straight, his jacket pressed to perfection, but there's a tightness in his chest that no amount of fabric or precision can hide. He moves slowly, methodically, reaching for a pen, signing another paper without thought, the rhythm of his actions robotic, as if he has done it 1,000 times before. But the weight of it all, this life he's built, presses against him, just beneath the surface, threatening to break free. And in the stillness of the room, something shifts. He looks at the window, but the reflection staring back at him isn't his. It's the face of a younger man, full of dreams, a man who had once hoped for more, for something different. The edges of the memory are blurred, but the ache remains. He turns away from the mirror, his eyes suddenly clouded, as if the man he once was has somehow slipped through his fingers without his noticing. The walls seem to close in, the weight of expectation growing too much to bear, and in this very room, he is confronted with the life he never lived. He sinks into the chair behind his desk, his hands trembling as they grip the arms, as if the very furniture is holding him upright. A memory surfaces, uninvited, a conversation long forgotten, yet it feels as fresh as the day it happened. A promise made to his younger self, a promise he would never keep. "You'll be someone," he had said, full of hope, standing in front of a mirror not unlike the one he now faces. But that promise had slipped away, drowned under the weight of responsibility and expectation, buried beneath years of living for others. He can feel it now, the dull pain of a future he never pursued, of dreams that are no longer his own. His breath catches in his throat, and for the first time in a long while, he lets himself feel it, the emptiness of this life, the loss of something he can never get back. The body language of his past self, his youthful ambition, the spark that once lit him up, all seems like a distant echo. But in the quiet hum of the present, it's no longer just a memory. It's a confrontation. The person he was and the person he has become are staring at each other in the same mirror, and the weight of the difference is unbearable. He takes a long breath, steadying himself. There's no anger, no blame, just the dull ache of realizing that the years have stolen something vital from him, and there's no going back. He lets the breath out slowly, the tension leaving his body, but the emptiness lingers. He leans back, letting the chair take his weight, and for the first time in a long while, he faces the truth of who he has become. The mask is heavy, but it's the only one he knows how to wear. The air is thick with the weight of things unsaid. He stands there, the polished desk before him, now just an obstacle separating him from a past that feels distant, yet so painfully close. The room, once a fortress of control, now feels suffocating, as though it's closing in on him. He runs a hand over his face, the stubble scratching his palm, a sensation that grounds him in the present. It's a momentary distraction, but it's enough to break the trance. For a brief second, his mind drifts back to that summer afternoon when he was a child, standing at the edge of a yard, looking out at the horizon. His father's voice echoes in his memory, a sound he thought he had long buried. "You'll be someone," his father had said, his eyes filled with hope. Back then, it felt like a promise, an unspoken truth. But as the years passed, as life took its toll, that promise faded, replaced by an overwhelming sense of duty. The warmth of that memory is a sharp contrast to the coldness of the office, the sterile environment that has become his reality. He remembers the days before the world demanded so much from him, the days when he was free to dream, to imagine a life without boundaries. But those days are gone, swallowed up by the relentless march of time. His father's voice fades into the background as the noise of his present life takes over. The phone rings, a harsh reminder of the world outside, a world that never stops, that never waits. He reaches for the receiver, his fingers stiff, as if each motion takes more energy than the last. "Yes," he says, his voice calm, controlled, the same voice he's used for years to mask the cracks in his soul. But the call doesn't matter. It's just another task, another piece of the puzzle that doesn't fit. As he hangs up the phone, a sudden wave of exhaustion washes over him, and for a fleeting moment, he wonders if this is all there is, this endless cycle of obligation and duty. He leans back in his chair, staring at the ceiling, the sterile white light above him almost blinding. It's in this moment of stillness that the truth hits him with a quiet force. The man he is today, the man who has built this life, is not the man he once hoped to be. He's trapped, not in the walls of his office, but in a life he didn't choose, a life that's been shaped by the expectations of others. The dreamer he once was, the man who believed in possibilities, is buried under the weight of responsibility. He closes his eyes, a slow breath escaping his lips, and for the first time in years, he allows himself to feel the sadness, the regret, the loss of something he can never retrieve. The mask he wears is heavy, and in this quiet room, the weight of it is unbearable. The memory strikes him without warning, like a distant echo breaking through the noise of the present. He's standing in the kitchen of his childhood home, the same old countertops, worn and stained by years of use. His mother's voice rings out from behind, sharp yet soft, instructing him to finish the dishes before he heads out. He had promised he would, but he never did. He remembers rushing out that night, eager to escape, to feel free, but the door slamming behind him, the sound still lingers. The promise he made was never kept, and somehow, that unfulfilled promise stayed with him, gnawing at him every day. He grips the edge of his desk, the cold metal grounding him to the present, but the weight of the past is already pressing down on him, suffocating him. His mother's face appears in his mind, tired, worn from years of quiet sacrifice, her eyes always filled with a silent hope that he never fully understood. He can almost see her standing there in the kitchen, hands cracked from years of cleaning, cooking, taking care of everyone else, while her own needs were always left unspoken. She never asked for help, never showed her weariness. It was always a quiet, invisible burden, one that he had never seen until now. She had given everything to make sure he had a chance at a life she never had, a chance to break free, to be someone. But in the end, he was so focused on escaping, on forging his own path, that he couldn't see the sacrifices that had already been made for him. And now, as he sits here, staring at the cold, impersonal walls of his office, the truth settles in like a heavy fog. He's trapped in a life that isn't his, a life built on the sacrifices of others, on the unspoken promises of people who gave up their own dreams to give him the chance to have his. His mother's sacrifices, his father's quiet work, all the unspoken debts he's carried without ever acknowledging them. The past isn't a distant memory. It's alive in every decision he's made, in every choice he's avoided, in every moment he's spent running away from the very people who made it all possible. The weight of it crushes him now, but there's no way to undo it. The mask he's worn for so long, the mask of control, of success, of being the man he thought he was supposed to be, is slipping away. He stands up, his hands shaking as he gathers the papers from his desk, each one a reminder of how far he's drifted from the person he once wanted to be. His mother's face still lingers in his mind, a silent plea, a reminder of everything he's forgotten. He's been so caught up in the pursuit of success that he's forgotten what it means to live, to be truly present, to honor the sacrifices that have been made for him. The truth is harsh, but it's the only truth he has left. And as he stands there, in the stillness of his office, he feels it. The weight of all the promises broken, the years wasted, the love he never truly understood until now. He sits in the chair now, his back against the cold leather, his fingers gripping the armrests, as if the very act of holding on might anchor him to something real. The silence in the room is suffocating, so thick that it presses against his chest, making it hard to breathe. His mind races, but it's a blur, as if all the pieces of his life are spinning around him, out of his control. The memories flood in, one after another. His mother's face, so full of quiet strength, the years she spent working tirelessly, the nights she stayed up late, only to rise early again. She never spoke of her pain, never let him see the weight of her sacrifices. She had been strong, too strong, and he had been too blind to see it. His mind drifts to his father then, the man who had worked the same long hours, only to come home and collapse in front of the television, his face blank, as if there was nothing left to give. They had given so much, both of them, and yet he never understood it. He had been too focused on his own ambitions, too wrapped up in the idea of success to see the toll it was taking on them. The truth of it hits him now, the realization that the very success he had strived for, the life he had built, was built on the backs of those who loved him, who had sacrificed their dreams for his. The tears come then, not in a rush, but slowly, quietly, as if they had been waiting for this moment, for him to finally see what he had missed all these years. The weight of the realization is almost too much to bear. His body feels heavy, the tension in his shoulders, his neck, all the places where the weight of his unacknowledged past has settled. He can feel the years of unspoken pain in his bones, the anger he never expressed, the sadness he never allowed himself to feel. The mask he has worn for so long, the mask of strength, of control, begins to crack, slowly, painfully, as he finally allows himself to acknowledge the truth. He has failed. He has failed to see the sacrifices of the people who loved him, to appreciate what they had given up for him to have this life. The mask he wears, the armor he has built around himself, is not strength, it is a prison. And in this prison, he is trapped, suffocating under the weight of everything he has ignored. The tears are still coming, quiet and steady, but now there is a strange peace in them, a release, as if he is finally shedding the layers of protection that have kept him from seeing the truth. He wipes his face with the back of his hand, the sharpness of the motion almost like a rejection of the pain, but the rejection is fleeting. It lingers, and in that lingering, he knows that something is beginning to change. The man he has been, the man who has hidden behind his mask for so long, is beginning to crumble, and in that crumbling, he is finally facing the truth of what he has become. The phone rings again, its sharp sound breaking the stillness of the room, but this time, it doesn't pull him from his thoughts. He lets it ring, watches it buzz across the polished surface of his desk, a reminder of the world outside that keeps spinning, indifferent to his inner collapse. The past few moments have unfolded slowly, like a film reel played at half speed. His chest tightens, the weight of it all sinking deeper, the truths he's avoided finally catching up with him. The anger, the guilt, the regrets. He thought he had left them behind when he left home, but they've returned now, more real than ever. He stands, his legs unsteady beneath him, but he moves toward the window, the same window where he had often stood as a boy, staring out at the horizon, dreaming of freedom, of escape. Now, that same horizon feels unreachable, as if the world has moved on without him, leaving him behind in the shadows of his own life. His gaze falls on the distant skyline, the jagged outline of buildings and the endless stretch of city streets below. The city that promised opportunity, success, and a future. But all it's given him is emptiness, a feeling that has only grown stronger with time. The life he built, the career, the house, the reputation, all of it feels like a mirage now, something he chased relentlessly, only to find that it was never what he wanted in the first place. His hands tremble as they grip the windowsill, the cold metal biting into his skin. He feels it now, the vast chasm between who he is and who he thought he would be, the dreams of his youth crushed under the weight of his own choices. It wasn't just the system, he realizes. It wasn't just the world that failed him. He failed himself. In his pursuit of success, he lost sight of everything that truly mattered: his family, his integrity, his own happiness. His body is exhausted, his mind a jumble of conflicting emotions, but in this moment, he can't look away from the truth staring back at him. His hands fall to his sides, limp, as the weight of his failures settles into his bones. The anger he felt earlier dissipates, replaced by a quiet sadness, a deep sorrow for the years wasted. There's no one to blame but himself. The system, the expectations, they were just the backdrop to his own decisions. He built his own prison, brick by brick, and now, he's trapped in it, unable to escape. He thinks of his parents again, the sacrifices they made for him, their hopes for him, their unspoken love that he never truly saw until now. He thinks of his mother, how she would have smiled, quietly proud, watching him chase his dreams. He thinks of his father, a man who never spoke of his own sacrifices, but who carried them nonetheless. The weight of their love, their silent sacrifices, falls on him now, like a shroud he can't escape. His throat tightens, the tears threatening once more, but he holds them back. There is no time for tears, not yet. The truth has been laid bare before him, and there is nothing left to do but face it. The pain of his past is overwhelming, but it is also a catalyst. It is the first step toward understanding, toward accepting that the man he has become is not the man he wanted to be. He turns from the window, his eyes searching the room for something, anything, that can give him a sense of direction. But there is nothing. Not yet. The journey to healing will take time. He knows that now. And though he's unsure of where it leads, he understands, for the first time in years, that it's time to begin the hardest journey of all, the one back to himself. The sound of his footsteps is heavier now, as though the weight of the world has shifted and settled into his bones. He walks through the familiar hallway, his movements slow and deliberate, each step echoing louder than the last. The hallway, once a place of refuge, now feels like a narrow passageway leading nowhere. His hand grazes the edge of the walls, the paint chipped in places, the texture rough beneath his fingers. It's a stark contrast to the polished surface of his office, a reminder of the life he's left behind, a life that's now slipping away, piece by piece. As he reaches the door, he hesitates, the cool metal handle cold to the touch, almost mocking him. He could turn back, he knows. He could retreat back into the safety of his routine, into the mask he's worn for so long. But something inside him shifts, a quiet resolve stirring in the pit of his stomach. The door opens with a soft creak, and he steps into the room, the familiar scent of old wood and dust filling his lungs. It's a room he hasn't entered in years, a room filled with memories he's long avoided. The bookshelves line the walls, the same books still neatly arranged, untouched by time. The window is open just a crack, and the breeze stirs the curtains, the soft motion drawing his attention. He steps further in, the floorboards creaking beneath his weight, and his eyes fall on a single chair by the window, the same chair his mother used to sit in. The chair is empty now, a hollow space that once held a person full of life, full of quiet love and unspoken sacrifice. He sits down slowly, his hands trembling as they rest on his knees. The weight of the room presses down on him, the silence thick with memories, with the love he never truly understood until now. His eyes close, and in that quiet darkness, the memories flood in. He remembers the late nights, the sound of his mother's voice calling out to him, the way she always seemed to be there, even when he didn't need her. He remembers the sacrifices she made, the things she gave up without a second. Fought all for him. He remembers the quiet smile she gave him on the day he left, the smile that hid so much, so many years of hard work, of love given freely, of dreams put on hold for a child who never truly saw them. The tears come then, not in a rush, but slowly, gently, as if the weight of them has been building for years. He doesn't fight them. He lets them come, the soft sobs that shake his body, the sound of a man breaking, not because of anger, but because of understanding. He understands now, in a way he never did before, that love isn't always loud. It isn't always shown in grand gestures or spoken words. Sometimes, love is quiet. It's in the things left unsaid, in the sacrifices made without expectation of return. He reaches up to wipe his face, the tears staining his hand, but he doesn't move. He doesn't want to. He's not ready to walk away from this moment. Not yet. He takes another deep breath, and for the first time in years, he feels something close to peace, a quiet understanding of what his mother gave him, of what he has been blind to all this time. The weight isn't gone, not yet, but it's lighter now. And in that lightness, there's a sense of release, of freedom, a freedom he hasn't felt in so long. He knows the road ahead is long, but for the first time in a long time, he's ready to walk it, ready to face whatever comes next. The weight of the room still lingers as he stands, his hands resting on the worn surface of the desk, the quiet hum of the world outside barely reaching him. The memories of the past have come rushing back, but now, instead of feeling burdened by them, he feels a strange calm. He takes in a slow, deliberate breath, his eyes scanning the room, lingering on the simple things that once seemed insignificant. The half-finished cup of coffee on the corner of the desk, the old photo of his family gathering at the park, the sunlight filtering in through the blinds, casting long shadows across the floor. Everything feels different now, as if his perception of the world has shifted just slightly, enough to see it in a way he never could before. His mind drifts back to that moment, the one he's been avoiding for so long. The moment when he realized how far he had strayed from who he truly was. The anger, the guilt, the sense of failure that had gripped him for so long. They're still there, but now they're no longer the only things defining him. There's something else too, something that's been quietly building inside him, rising up from the depths of his heart. It's the truth that has been there all along, hidden beneath layers of denial and distraction. He had failed, yes, but he had also loved. His love for his family, for his parents, for the life he had tried to build, it was always there, even when he couldn't see it. The love had never left him, even in the darkest moments, even when he had pushed it aside. And now, in this quiet space, in the stillness of his own mind, he feels a quiet acknowledgement of that love, a recognition that it has always been his anchor, even when he didn't know it. The mask, the one he had worn for so long, starts to loosen its grip. It's not gone yet, not completely, but it's no longer the defining force in his life. He has started to let go, piece by piece, allowing himself to be more than just the man he was expected to be. He steps toward the window, the same window he stood by all those years ago, and for the first time in a long time, he doesn't feel the need to escape. Instead, he feels a sense of belonging, a sense of connection to the world around him. The future, once a source of fear, now feels like a possibility. He can't change the past, can't undo the mistakes he's made, but he can choose to move forward, to make amends where he can, to honor the love that has always been there. As he stands by the window, looking out at the city below, he realizes that the journey is far from over. There will still be challenges, still moments of doubt, but for the first time in years, he feels ready to face them. He isn't the man he once thought he was, and that's okay. He is someone new, someone who is learning to embrace both the light and the darkness within him. The road ahead is long, but with each step, he knows he is walking towards something better, something truer. And in that knowledge, there is peace. He stands before the old family portrait, the one he remembers seeing every day as a child. The faces in the photo, frozen in time, seem distant now, almost unfamiliar. His fingers tremble as they hover over the frame, the glass cool to the touch, but instead of feeling the usual distance, he feels something else, a connection, deep and unspoken, between the man in the photo and the man he is becoming. His eyes linger on his father's face, the silent strength that radiated from him even in the toughest times. He remembers how his father would sit in the same chair by the window, never speaking much, but always there, a steady presence in the background of his life. For so long, he took that presence for granted, thinking it was always going to be there, unchanging, but now, it feels like a ghost. The quiet sacrifices his father made, the silent burdens he carried, are only now becoming clear. He has always admired his father's strength, but now he sees it in a new light. It wasn't just about providing or being strong for the family. It was about the silent courage to carry on, even when the weight of the world seemed unbearable. He feels a sharp pang of regret for not having understood that sooner, for never truly appreciating what was right in front of him. His mother's soft laughter, his father's steady presence. They were always there, quietly shaping him, but he was too consumed by his own ambitions to see it. He's learned now, though, that real strength isn't in power or control. It's in vulnerability, in showing up for the people who matter, in giving without expecting anything in return. The realization is humbling, and he feels it settle deep within him, a truth he can no longer deny. The man he has been, the man who wore the mask of success and achievement, is not the man he wants to be anymore. He takes a deep breath, steadying himself, and for the first time in years, he feels like he's truly seen himself. Not the version of himself that others expect, but the version of himself that is raw, honest, and open to growth. There's no more hiding behind achievements or titles. The past, with all its mistakes and regrets, is still there, but it no longer defines him. He understands now that the healing begins not by erasing the past, but by accepting it, by acknowledging the sacrifices, the pain, and the love that have shaped him into who he is today. And with that acceptance comes a strange sense of peace, a calmness he hasn't felt in years. He steps away from the portrait, his heart lighter than it's been in so long. There's still much work to do, still much to understand, but he knows, for the first time, that he's on the right path. It's not about fixing everything or pretending the past didn't happen. It's about moving forward, carrying the lessons learned, and giving himself the space to grow into the person he's meant to be.